welcome or welcome back. My name is Dee and this is Dee's Reading Lounge, where I'm sharing my love for reading at my own pace. Welcome if you're new, and thank you so much for coming back if you are a returning subscriber. If you are new and you're interested in all things bookish, I do encourage you to subscribe down below. Leave a comment so I know that you were here, and so let's go ahead and get into the video. So if you are new to my channel, I just got back into reading last summer before I made this channel. And so there's been a lot of books on and authors on my to be read list or to get into list for quite some time. And I'm finally getting into reading some of those authors and books. And so since being back, I've discovered 2 new authors to me. I didn't know of any of these authors before getting back on my reading journey, and I have read some of their work. And so this video is just going to be sharing whether I want to continue reading that author's catalog, because the books that I'm going to talk about in this video were not my favorite and were slightly disappointing, although not 100% disappointing. I just wasn't satisfied with the book in some way. So the first author I'm going to talk about, and I feel really bad, y'all, I really do, but my channel is all about authenticity and being honest and things like that. I don't think there's no shame, or should be no shame, to tell the truth. I never want to come on here bashing the author, because I know these authors put a lot of time and work into their craft. And so I'm not bashing the author's work or anything like that, but I am giving a true opinion according to my personal taste. And I think that's okay. It is okay. All right, so the first author is a male author, and I was really excited to get into this author, as I mentioned before, because he is from Virginia. I'm from Virginia. His settings are very familiar to me. So that author, if you haven't guessed by now, is S.A. Cosby. Love his personality. I've watched several interviews. He seemed very down to earth. He seems to be very passionate about writing, and he's been writing for quite some time before he even became published. I think I read or saw in an interview that a lot of the publishers didn't take him seriously. He got a lot of rejections. I'm not exactly sure what happened to turn that around, but I'm glad it got turned around, and now he's a published author and he's living out his dream writing. The first book that I read from him is this book right here, All the Sinners Bleed. And I was excited about that book. If you know me personally, and I do have people in my family and close friends that complain about me looking at serial killer documents, crime fiction, true crime, I just absolutely love it. I don't know. Yeah, I do. It's the psychological aspect behind those documentaries and stories that I find intriguing, not really the acts. The acts are brutal, but I just love to get into the mind of these deranged people. I just find that very fascinating. I know that might be odd to someone, and it is to my close friends and family, but I just love that type of thing. And so I was excited that he is a crime fiction and thriller writer. Excuse my voice, for some reason I'm getting hoarse. One moment. Okay, so the first book that I read was All the Sinners Bleed. It is about a past student who walks into a school, and he ends up getting shot by local police officers because he ends up shooting the teacher. And then from there, there's a big uproar in this small rural race-divided town, where the sheriff, who is the main male character, and he's got to figure out why this is happening. He's pinned between his black community and the community at large, the white folks in the county who wants an answer. So he goes digging, and he uncovers a big crime ring, I would say, that was going on with this teacher. And so the premise was really interesting. However, I just felt, I'm just going to be summing it up, I just didn't really like the writing style. I just was not engaged with the plot. I just was not. I felt like it was just not well thought out. As I got middle of the book, I was just ready to be done with the book. And so when I finished the book, I left just, I don't know, feeling very empty and feeling like I've just wasted my time reading the book, because I really did not enjoy it like I thought I was going to enjoy it. And so I was like, now I'm like on the fence, to be honest with you, if I want to read another one of his books. I am, though. I am. And so along with talking about the books that I've read from these authors, I am going to be showing you the book that I'll be reading next from them, because I am going to be giving these authors a second chance. So that's All the Sinners Bleed. It was just an okay, average book. It did not meet my expectations 100%. So the book that I will be reading by S.A. Cosby, I can't lie to y'all, I am nervous about this because of how All the Sinners Bleed went. And I know that is a book that got high ratings, but for me, it just didn't work for me like that. So it's Razor Blade Tears, and I've heard nothing but good things about this. Predominantly some mixed reviews, but for the most part, people seem to really like the story. This is about two fathers, one black, one white. I'm assuming in a small town because his settings are set in like small towns, maybe with poverty, things like that. These men are totally different, but their sons were married and they're found murdered. So they band together to find out who killed their sons. They are seeking justice for their sons. So that premise sounds really cool, really interesting. And again, a crime fiction thriller, small rural town, black versus white. It seems like it's going to be very layered and very interesting because of all those things. So while I am intrigued and excited to get into the book, I am still slightly nervous, but we are still gonna push through and give him one more chance with this book. Although I do have one other book that I have in my collection from him. I think it's a Blacktop Wasteland and My Darkest Prayer. And I know he has another book coming out in May, King of Ashes, that a lot of people are excited about. But I probably won't be reading that anytime soon because I'm trying to get through his earlier catalog. So Razor Blade Tears is going to be the next book up for him as a second chance read. All right, so this next author I talked about in my goals video, stating that I wanted to get into her work, which is Jesmyn Ward. Jesmyn Ward is a winner of the National Book Award. She actually won the National Book Award for the book that I'm going to show you now. So the book that I read first of her, so this is not a second chance because the book I just finished was a second chance, because I've read The Men We've Reaped by her, which I absolutely loved. It kind of set up her writing style and what I could expect from her stories, which was absolutely what I got when I went into this book, Salvage the Bones. It's set in like a rural Mississippi Gulf town where there's a family who's impoverished, drunk father, and the mother died early, struggling with different things that they're dealing with in the midst of an impending hurricane. Like, female only main character is named Ash, and she finds out she's pregnant. She's the only girl, so she's navigating her 16-year-old life around a sea of men. The brother Skeeter and his pit bull, he's obsessed with his pit bull. The pit bull symbolizes a lot, and it all comes to a head at the end when the hurricane finally hits. I didn't like this book because it weighed heavy on the pit bull story and the harming of dogs. That's why I did not like the story, and it really surprised me because I just knew I was just going to love the story based on The Men We Read, because I really love that story. When I finished reading this book, I went and read reviews, and then I was like, okay, I can see that. Someone said that the book was written to win a prize because it was well written. It was well written. It's got a lot of metaphors in it, similes, and this is not a surface book. You do have to kind of think deeply. I did have to read a page or two over again, or a paragraph or two over again, just to make sure I was understanding, or, you know, just to seek comprehension, make sure I was understanding what she was writing. So it's not I would say, easy book to read at all, but the writing is perfect, beautiful. It deserved if we're basing it on the writing style alone, it did deserve award, but I just didn't love it for the reasons I just stated. And so the book was disappointing in that way, but I gave it a 3.25 just because it was well written. And the book wasn't a horrible book, I would say. So I am like, do I want to read another book? But I'm still going to give her another chance, because one book should not deter me from reading more of her work. So the book that I'm going to read of hers is this book right here, Let Us Descend. The original plan was to read this book, which is Sing Unburied Sing, but I decided not to go into this one next because It does have magical, I heard it has magical realism in it. I have read books with magical realism in it, and I do feel a certain way about those books. I don't hate it. I guess it's the way it's written. If it's written well, I can withstand it. But yeah, so I decided not to do this one just yet. Let's pick up one of her newer works. This is one of her newer works, and I think this is historical fiction. And so I think this is going to be an easy read because look at the words on the page are very, it doesn't seem very wordy at all. So it's only, and it's got discussion questions through 304, even though it doesn't seem like it. But anyway, so this says it's inscribing rebirth and reclamation into the darkest chapters of American history. This searching novel follows a young enslaved girl who is sold south by the white enslaved who fathered her as she descends from the rice fields of the Carolinas to the heart of a Louisiana sugar plantation. Mississippi is a setting that she usually talks about or sets her books in. She encounters a land, the rich yet unforgiving forests, swamps, and rivers of the South, American South, that is teeming with spirit of earth and water, of myth and history, spirits who nurture and give, and those who manipulate and take. For one of the most singular, brilliant, and beloved writers of her generation, Let Us Descend is Jesmyn Ward's most transcendent novel yet, a masterwork for ages. So historical fiction is one of my favorite genres, and I'm really looking forward to this. So this one is definitely going to be the next read that I pick up from her. And because I just started getting into her catalog, I think this one is going to go up on the list because I want to really have an impression by mid-year of what I think about her so far, because this will be the third book that I will have read from her. So the next book or author that I want to talk about is Denny S. Bryce. Denny S. Bryce is new to me. I just read The Other Princess, and this was like highly anticipated for me because it's a Victorian historical fiction about Sarah Forbes Bonetta. I read this in March, and I love watching period dramas, Victorian era. It's a lot of drama. It's always action. And so I went into this book expecting action. Now this is based on a real person, Sarah Forbes Bonetta. She was an African encaptured person and gifted to Queen Victoria. So this actually happened to her. However, the author took liberties and made a story up based on her life because, you know, it's historical fiction. Nothing was written down. You know, we have to kind of imagine what happened to her. And the book just disappointed me as far as the drama and tea. I was expecting drama and tea, a lot more in your face. And so it just was not that at all. It was very mild. And although it was not a horrible book, the writing was good. It was some things about the book that I liked, but it just did not meet my expectations. So now I'm looking at Denny Bryce like, do I want to read one of your books? But I am. And so the book that I'm going to read is this one right here. So I just requested this book from the library. It's called Wild Women and the Blues. And this was published in 2021. Just read a brief synopsis. And I quickly just glance over the Goodreads, okay, because I do want to do somewhat of my due diligence when I'm picking books. And I just randomly picked a book. She's written other books, but this is one because it's a most recent book that I want to start with because I don't want to be disappointed again, y'all. So it says, let's see here. This is an award-winning debut novel. Oh, this is her debut novel. So she is a new author. So I guess that would explain things. So if she wrote this book in 21, she wrote this 2 years later. So maybe she's, you know, coming into her writing style. I know sometimes it takes years. So that's good to know. So, but this is a debut. And so this is the first one. And so it sounds good. It got decent ratings. It says in an award-winning debut novel, a sharecropper's daughter navigates celebrity encounters, bootlegging, and gangster activities in jazz-age Chicago before sharing her story with a grieving film student nearly a century later. 1925, Chicago is the jazz capital of the world, and the Dreamland Cafe is the ritziest black and tan club in town. Honorée Dalcourt, a sharecropper's daughter, is willing to work hard and dance every night on her way to the top. She's socializing with celebrities, but with temptation of bootleg whiskey, gambling, and gangsters. A young woman driven by ambition might risk more than she can stand to lose. So that's all I'm going to read. That sounds really good. And that's why I ultimately picked this one to go into, not knowing it was her debut. So I don't know if I'm setting myself up for another disappointment, but we shall see. I really hope I really like this book. It sounds very interesting. But yeah, those are the 3 authors that I have read from, and I am going to be giving them a chance because they're deserving. Now, Jeannie S. Bryce, knowing that she is a new author, she just started writing in 2021, I'm definitely going to give her another chance. Even if I don't like the book that I'm going to read that I just talked about, I might wait a while, see what she does with the next book, and we might give that one a chance. But after that, that's going to be like, okay, yeah, maybe she's not for me. And that's okay when the author is not for you. That is completely okay. That's why we read books, to see if we're going to like the writing style, how they lay out their plots, how they develop their characters, if it has substance, because I like to read books with substance. Yeah, layers and things like that. That's it, you guys. It's getting dark. Thank you so much for watching this video. Leave all your feedback and comments down below. If you read these authors, let me know what's your favorite book by them or your general thoughts. I would love to know down in the comments. Have a great day. I will see you guys in the next video.